The figures. First there was one. One drop that slid down a window pane, then disappeared. I heard about it while I was having a meal in a restaurant. And because of that one drop, and the drops that followed, it would be many months before I passed through the doors of a restaurant again. The drops became a trickle. Teenagers back from ski trips, people in distant countries. I didn't pay much attention, didn't apply. Then the school shut down, and the figures rose to the top of the news bulletins. And they rose, and rose, and rose. I kept track of the figures in my coronavirus diary. They grew to a point where they became jagged. 5,074, 6,704, 7,804. The figures danced on my screen, winked at me, then moved out of reach. As the figures grew, the ground rocked beneath my feet. For my remedy, I turned to the words of Julian of Norwich, an English mystic who survived the Black Death. She wrote the following words: "All shall be well, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well." These were the words of a survivor. They kept the ground steady. As the figures reached their peak, they grew impossible to calculate. Figures flowed in from all sides, from Germany, from Irish laboratories normally used for testing cattle. Figures recorded on one day were only released the next. I focused on the deaths, which rose to the pointy figure of 41. Soon, I stopped calculating the figures altogether. Instead, I turned my attention to the people behind the figures. It was easier to hang on to them. A prince, an immigrant bus driver, a prime minister, a child who liked to dance, a film star, a granddad with one kidney, a baby, a woman whose forecasts were critical in securing victory on D-Day, a pharmacist, a writer, a 13-year-old boy who died, a 103-year-old grandmother who pulled through. As lockdown progressed, the figures began to slide downwards. We became immune to the figures. At the start of lockdown, 39 cases felt like a sucker punch. Towards the end of it, we were saying only 39 cases. As I write, the figures are down to a trickle again, though that is growing into a stream. My favourite figure is the number 0. I love how it's both infinite and nothing at the same time. I long to see the figure 0 on our news bulletins. No cases, no deaths. I know that day will come when we can see that oval 0 shape again. But until then, the trickle of figures will become absorbed in the stream of our lives, the jagged edges smoothed away.